Hello there, Big Benedict here. We're playing God of War Ghost of Sparta on God difficulty, and this is my Pain Plus guide and walkthrough. We are currently on installment the 11th, and we have just one more after this for a total of 12 installments to have completed the guide. Now, to get up here, if you don't want to move that block, do the Olympus Ascension there. That is, hold triangle, throw a spear, and then jump up one more time. You can do that, and then there's one part over here where you have to turn around and kill an enemy. That enemy being this one right there. And we've got, let me see. I don't think there's a fight in this whole place that isn't bullshit. So it's so much bullshit in this whole temple of Thanatos that it's a bullshit convention, without question. Just without question. We have the anti-gamer fight as well, and I've got to tell you, I did it once, I wasn't happy with it, and then I did it again, and I did it no damage. So I was so happy and proud of myself, and it only took like 2 hours per session or less. So very, very happy to have that. So in total, this walkthrough will only feature me getting damaged in one spot, and that will be on the Gerons. Everything else was no damage, because I don't intend to take any damage on the boss. The final boss, he's easy. Perhaps easy is not the right word, but he isn't hard. Now, the fight up here, remember earlier in the guide when I first explained to you guys the cursed wretches, these skeletons that you break and then they reassemble, and sometimes when you're going after them, they just disassemble all by themselves and cause you no end of aggravation. Well, they work on the same principle over here, except the thing about this is that there's an infinite amount of these guys until you break all 4 gears. No, not Gears of War 4. That never came out. There's something called Gay of War Judgment that did come out, but after that it was slim pickings and shit pickings too. For we got trash, utter trash. But thing you can do is when you get into this room, immediately attack one of the wheels, and you should be able to break it if you make direct contact with it all the way. Although even as I say that, and of course this room had to be no damage too by me, so I was put in a horrible position over here because this room is just terrible. It's got poor field of view, and it is basically an exercise in how cautious you can be and how patient you can be and how skillful you can be. But those things really don't matter too much when an enemy is coming at you off screen, or you whiff on your aerial Hyperion charge. You recover on the ground and then you get hit. So it's a bad situation for everybody concerned. And that is it. So when you have destroyed the 4 wheels, you're going to have whatever cursed remains are left, and then after you kill these ones, they won't spawn anymore. So what do you think I had to do? Yeah, of course, I had to stick around. The glutton for punishment I am. I had to stick around. And actually, the anti-gamer fight is coming up right after this. Right after we get up here. Sorry, I just needed some water. Did I do this? No. Yeah, it must have been done no damage. Yeah. This fight up here is it's complete garbage. And the reason for that is, well, I don't know the reason for that, but the way to make it not so garbage is to treat it like the garbage that it is and employ a tactic that you would never think of doing in your life. Okay, so there's going to be 2 K-Res wretches, or 2 K-Res wretches, and then 2 of these tyrant cyclopses up here. So you'll want to spawn these guys, keep your guard up, and then when the cyclops comes up, do 1 fire charge move at him, detonate it, and then come back over here. I mean, not you detonate it, but just let it detonate. And then if you come back here in the corner against this rock, the K-Res Wraiths usually cannot grab you. So the wonderful thing about this part, though, is that the Cyclops, those moves, you can block them except for the stomp. I should say that you can just jump over his foot if you want to, but I just don't like to do it for some reason. I've got the timing down for the roll, and I really like the roll, but anytime you cause him to get reeled back by charges or anything like that, he will come charging for you with his attacks. And the K-Res Wraiths usually don't charge, but what we're doing over here is we're doing the T hold, launch ourselves up into the air, and then T 3 more times, and then doing this. Couldn't be simpler, could it? Yeah, it really isn't, but sometimes the K-Res Wraiths, they do attempt to do their move on you where they have that AoE on the ground, and if that happens, just keep an eye on the wretch to the right whenever you're doing this, because there's usually one that stands to the right, our right, that is. And if you see her doing any of that AoE nonsense, just keep your guard up in the air and land while blocking, and you won't take damage. Okay, so how do you handle phase 2? Head back to the barrier quickly. Hustle on back, and then just dodge that. That's pretty forgiving, don't you think? I mean, that's a pretty good amount of having iframes there. But you need to destroy 4 sets of his armor to get him down to where we can start hitting him. And the Wraiths, thank goodness, are basically just going to taunt this entire time. They've got a very annoying taunt, but if you aren't pushed all the way to the corner of that rock, you can get grabbed by them. And even though did you see that? I accidentally parried his jump. He was jumping at me, so that could have saved my life right there. I'm not sure what would have come to pass if I hadn't done that. Because I parried it, it leads me to think that he definitely would have flew over that rock and grabbed me. But do you see this whole situation? You've got one enemy that you have to move around with to deal with, and then you've got another enemy that you have to not do that. You have to stay in one place and guard, because if you move around a lot, they're just going to keep doing that AoE on you. So whoever made this fight is against gamers. He's against gaming, he or she, and his philosophy is contrary to everything that gaming stands for, whoever it is. But this is kind of stressful, though, to be honest. And what do you feel? Do you think that this is an anti-gamer fight? I think so. I really do. But once the second Cyclops is gone, then you can just deal with the K-Res Wraiths. But if you're like me, you're very cautious at this point, because you don't want any misstep to betray you and cause you to get mauled by these guys. Fortunately, there's just 2 at a time at any given time. There are 5 to 6 in total, and it's just imperative to focus on one, and then don't give him too much empty space behind him to fall back into, because you want him to fall into a wall or some kind of structure so that you don't have to go too far to go get him, because the other one could be causing trouble. Now, if it's just taunting, he's not causing trouble, but I'll be damned if I do, though. I get a lot of instances where they really are being bitchy to me, and other times they let me pass, but it's kind of a shame. And this enemy really is in need of fixing, and I think one of the easiest ways it can be fixed is just do not have that circle button ever fade from it. Let it lay in the ground until till the person gets over there and executes it, when it's safe for him to do so. But yeah, this fight I've done this on a no upgrade run, so I had the same sort of strategy going. So this sort of situation that for me personally, it wasn't anything new, and I was able to do it very quickly. But I should say that the first time I went through this, I was at the point of death after this fight, and I just wasn't satisfied with it. And I knew I could do it no damage. I just knew that I could. We are also going to be doing the Demos boss fight pretty soon, and that too will be a no damage fight. And I'm experiencing some of those bittersweet feelings that I always feel. When you start a project, it seems like it will last forever, and then as you near the end of it, you start to realize that this thing that's been with me for so long, this thing that's given me comfort and joy, and a lot of heartache too, but just a lot of enjoyment too, personal satisfaction, beyond belief with all of these hard sections, that it's going to be gone soon. And that's a depressing concept, but it's one that, everything that begins must end, but I wish it didn't have to be so, But anyway, we're just focusing on these wretches and trying to be careful. I keep moving my position every time I get a chance to make sure that I'm in a position where when I do my next hit on either one of them, because it's hard to keep track of which one has what HP, so that I could just quickly go over there. And the irony is, even if the fallen one is not very far away from you, the one that's still standing around could pull a bitch move and do that AoE on the ground and maybe even attack you after, so you might not even get over there. And then we've got Demos coming up pretty soon. A few more cursed remains coming up. That gear room? That gear room took longer than my first victory over this room, with the skeletons. Because, of course, every time I got hit, it was a reset for me personally. And why do I do that? Why do I do that? I now know I have a mental defect. So you have to live with what you have. Oh, finally, it's the last one. I'm not going to make bold to do any courageous things over here. I'm just going to... There we go. Satisfying kill. Okay, here are the cursed remains. We've got a checkpoint under our belts. We're going to speed roll our way up here. Here they are. And I know a lot of people like to do the Hyperion charge on the ground on these guys, but what I don't like about doing that, and when I say a lot of people, I just mean that I've seen a lot of content of this game, and even of Taz 1 and Shinobi and things like that. Some people, they prefer to do that charge, but I'm telling you, that charge, they play around with you when you do that charge. They disassemble. So they don't disassemble when you do the air Hyperion charge, so it's much safer. The only thing that's risky about doing that, I guess, is that you could whiff on the grab of it, and then you would have to recover. So, but you don't miss that often, though. Seriously, I mean, it's very generous. And when I was on this room, I was thinking to myself, I wonder what Taz did in this room, because I'm always thinking along those terms, what did Taz do? And of course, he did some sort of an infinite jump across the room, and I always find those things kind of funny. I don't do them, mainly because I don't really want to take the time to learn them, if I'm going to be brutally honest about it. But I just like doing things the way the game has them prescribed for me. So, Demos. What a sack of shit this boss fight is, and I really mean that. Because if you ever get grabbed by him, you have to reset pretty much, because you're never going to survive his attacks. But the fun thing about Demos is that you can do Hyperion charges, both ground-based and air-based ones, on this guy, and he will take the brunt of it. Although you cannot do too many punches, otherwise he will turn you over and hit you, and then you're locked in quick time events that are unwinnable pretty much. So what I would recommend is that if you are going to be throwing him around and stuff and doing the Hyperion charges, when you're on top of him, just do about 1 or 2 punches and then press circle to throw him off of you, because you don't want him turning the tables on you and having him hitting you from the top. It's just not good at all. But at this point, Demos hates you, and he's going to show you that he hates you by fighting you, and then afterwards he's going to be your friend. So he has got these really strong gauntlets that he uses, and they take away a hell of a lot of damage. But one of the good moves to do on this guy is the Olympic Slash, which is that move that you saw me do there. What I also really prefer to do, also I didn't realize you can parry the sand that he throws at you. Parrying sand, you've got to love it. But what I like to do is get to the other side of the room, just jump over him, and then do my combos, and or do the Hyperion charge. See what I did there? No more than 1 punch. It's just not worth it. And this is somewhat of a scripted fight, because when he reaches a certain amount of damage, he is going to run out of this Colosseum area and pull you down with him. So you just need to bring him down to a certain threshold. That's the dust I was talking about. Yeah, when I'm doing the triangle punch on him, it's never more than 1, because the triangle punch is slower and it's way too risky. So here it comes. Let him run up to you, and then just do this. If you just do 1 punch, it's always safe to do 1 punch. You'll never get turned over on this guy. So just jump over him. Try not to roll though, because you can roll and he will grab you. It's just not worth it. And you deal decent damage too when you're throwing him as well. I know we're not punching him too many times, but we are at least getting some combo points, which means we are hitting him. And it's just a strange fight. It's a strange fight. But this game, just, I don't know, they are the masters of doing QuickTime events that are unwinnable for people. I mean, I know it's on the hardest difficulty, but do the QuickTime events have to be unwinnable? It's really silly. And if they're not unwinnable, you're left with like a sliver of health. So it's ridiculous. Oh man, that slash move is so good on this guy too. Simple. The Olympic Slash, jump over him. Hyperion charge, hit him a couple times. You can do your regular combos too if you think you can get them off in time. And that's basically going to be a done deal. When he grabs you, it's the end of the fight. And all in all, I say that this wasn't the excruciating ordeal that I thought it would be. I think mainly because I've done it on a no upgrade run plus, so I know the ropes. But shit, that dual Cyclops with the wretches that spit at you off screen, that has been the hardest fight of this walkthrough. Not just to do it, but to do it no damage. You know, that's Plus, it's a horrible checkpoint too. Not only is it a disgraceful set of things that happens in that fight, they give you the shittiest checkpoint ever. Come on, Kratos, get up. Get up and go help your brother. Your brother's nice to you now. Go get him. Good old Kratos. Now we're going to be doing some scaling over here. Okay, so the next video is going to be the Thanatos boss fight. And it's actually quite fun because you get to fight with your brother. You know? And man, the graphics in this game and the frame rate, oh boy, it is an utter delight to see this stuff in motion. There he is. Thanatos is going to walk away. Deimos is going to be hanging for his life, and we're going to go get him. He still might be pissed at Kratos. I'm not sure. Kratos will rescue him. Isn't that kind of vain? You know, I'll like you if you help me, if you save my life. Seems kind of forced. But anyway, the god of war and Deimos are going to be taking on the god of death in the next video. Please take care.